Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Tuesday, April 26th. What? In this episode, Everton dropped their pants into the relegation zone after losing to Liverpool and trying to shithouse their way into the game. City hold serve, putting a 5 spot up on Watford, a team they've never lost to ever in history of ever, never. But first, Mike, the top 4, Arsenal, United, Spurs, discuss.
No, I don't have to discuss United if it's a top 4 conversation. But
not anymore.
I mean, look, right? Like it's topsy-turvy. We said pretty much for the majority of the season that this is going to be a race of who doesn't want it. And once again, we've been
really decided they didn't want it.
Wow. Yes. Right. Exactly. And you could argue too, and we'll get into West Ham later in the show because they've got a huge couple of days coming up.
Yeah, I think they're done. They're like, all right, fine.
Oh, no. They've got a way into Champions League. It's just not playing against Arsenal this Sunday. So I'm not fucking thrilled about that. But you have to give the devil his literal due. Arsenal Football Club, 2 points up on Spurs, 5 games to go. And you'd have to say that if you looked at both in Arsenal and Tottenham's run-ins, it favors the Gunners.
Now, it does now. It didn't, but it does now.
It didn't. No, it didn't. Right. And we'll talk about what happened to Spurs over the last 2 games where they dropped 4 points. Yeah.
2 draws.
Yeah. No, a draw.
No, they lost.
Oh. So
I forgot my guys, my striped boys.
Yeah, it's been not great, Bob. 5 points, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, there's I mean, look, right, if you look at the last 5 for each team, Spurs have drawn and lost, and then they won 3 before that, and Arsenal won 2 coming off of 3 losses on the bounce. So can it still go any which way? Yes, but Arsenal just beat Chelsea and Man United, and Tottenham have Liverpool and Leicester in their next 2 games. So
as long as it stays tight, they got to stay within that 3.
I don't know that it can before May 12th, but we'll talk about that. Let's get to the scores and we'll go back to what the hell actually
happened. It starts Saturday morning with Arsenal 3, Man United 1. The first 20 minutes, Arsenal were really good. Man United played some good stuff. There's this guy named Cristiano Ronaldo who, when he has a break, is actually quite good. He dominated that game, really tried to will United into it, but Arsenal got all the breaks and win the game 3-1. Eddie Nketiah looks to be a striker, although his goals were pretty scuffed. Leicester 0, Aston Villa 0. Aston Villa winless in their last 6. Ooh, don't like that for Gerrard. And that game, the less talked about it, the better. My boys, Man City 5, Watford 1. City set the record for wins against a single opponent, but I think it's 45 goals to 1. Something like that over 15 games. It's ridiculous.
And they got the 1. That's pretty good.
City own Watford. Yeah, City tend to give up goals, but City are licking their wounds. They're not feeling strong at the moment, but Jesus, linked to Arsenal, scores 4 goals. Let's link them to more teams. Norwich on the beach. Newcastle continue the fucking run of form. They're undefeated at home in their last 7 wins on the bounce. Is Eddie Howe manager of the season? We'll do superlatives later. Joe Linton with 2 goals in that one. Your boys, Brentford, get 0-0, but Brentford uses the Brighton gambling blueprint. They literally copy the same plan and shut Tottenham down. They're kind of the same team, Brentford and Brighton. They have a lot of links.
Yeah, except
the
Brentford
mighty and powerful Super Burnley. Wow, the Clarets defeat Wolves and play some good stuff. Maybe it was Sean Dyche's problem the whole time. Burnley out of the relegation zone. You heard right. Out of the relegation zone. Incredible stuff from Burnley. Scenes, and more scenes. Chelsea 1, West Ham 0. I don't think, is it your mob? No, it's you who hasn't won in London. Chelsea does get the win. Brighton look like they're going to win this game, then draw in the Battle of the South Coast. 2 teams that are kind of like off the beaten path. When you look at where teams are in England, Brighton and Southampton draw in a hipster derby. Then Liverpool don't take a shot on target in the first half. There are controversies everywhere. Everton basically go full shithouse and start wasting time in the first 10 seconds, but ultimately lose 2-0. They take a positive performance, but are in the bottom three. And we ended the week on a 0-0. Crystal Palace on Monday night for the fourth time. I don't know how that happens against Leeds. I'm guessing that if they can't get a top 6 team, they might as well get a good atmosphere. So that's why Crystal Palace keeps playing on Monday nights. They assumed they'd get something good, but instead they got fuck all.
So
where do you want to go, Mike?
We have to start with Liverpool, Everton, but we're not going to talk about it. But you just brought it up. Leeds, that's a huge point.
Huge
on a Monday night at Crystal Palace, hostile atmosphere, and more importantly, that gets them to 34, which I said basically is the line. They are at the line right now. Now they don't have the great goal difference, so they're still a little suspect if Everton can get their shit together, but. Huge point for Leeds United. Happy for them. Happy for Jesse Marsch. And I hope that they stay up. But we have to talk about Liverpool and Everton. I don't think you or I has ever shed a tear a single second on this show for Liverpool. Would that be fair to say?
Not once.
I
really hate them.
Watched that first half. And by the way, I won a bet because I had halftime draw and Liverpool win. There was never any doubt that Liverpool were going to win. It was just, could they get their asses to halftime and not score first? And Everton was like a cartoon villain. It was like all of the worst traits of Frank Lampard's old pal, Jose Mourinho. Of the worst things about all of the worst teams he's ever had combined into 45 minutes.
I fucking loved it.
It was so comical, though.
I thought that they were, listen, this is a team in the relegation zone. This is a team that has never beats Liverpool. Liverpool brought out their dogs. They had the big guys in. It was Salah, Mane, Jota, Thiago, Fabinho, Keita. That is now their best group. And Matip, this is their best group at home against Everton, and they fucking shithouse their way to a 0-0 no shot opening first half. I thought Everton were great. They did everything they were supposed to do. They had 55% pass completion on only 193 passes, but they still created as many chances as Liverpool did in the first half. 3 shots to 3. Damari Gray had a couple. I thought, our friend Anthony Gordon, Anthony Gordon, he's trying to dive his way to penalties.
He really was.
He gets pushed in the back. I loved it. I thought it was great.
It was so comical, right?
But that's what you've got to do.
Yeah. I mean, I understand. And look, nothing else has worked, so theoretically, why not? But the highlight of the weekend for me was not the Origi sub that changed the game. It was not the crazy 5-goal output at Watford. Cool. You knew it was coming. It was none of these other games. It was the anti-football movement in the first 45 minutes, and culminated by in the 41st or so minute. The ball comes to Jordan Pickford. He grabs it, goes down to a knee, goes down on his chest, and he gets up. Like he looks up, he's still on the ground, and he winks at the sideline. And I went, "You motherfucker, man!" Like that was the funniest thing I've seen on a soccer pitch.
So there was that. Richarlison must have went down without getting touched a half a dozen times. He kept on pretending that he had a head injury
and a leg injury.
Michael Keane came on early in the warm-ups. That made me nervous because he's terrible, but he didn't have a chance to fuck this game up. I thought Everton can hold their heads high. Even though they lost,
I don't think they can. Oh,
yes, they can.
No, you can't. After you did what you did for the first half of that game, you basically you knew it was coming, right? It was really a matter of when, not if. But the manner in which you, as a collective, just behave yourselves.
I don't agree. I think that this is what they had to do.
I understand.
It's not hold your head high is not. It's not like a Leeds hold your head high, lose 6-3.
You didn't get your fucking heads kicked in.
Yes, that counts.
Fine. It counts, except for the fact that it puts them into the relegation zone.
It does.
Burnley, that's right. You heard it from the scores. Burnley.
Yeah.
2 points clear. Not 1, but 2
points clear. That's 2. That's 2
Everton.
Big points. I will say that bringing on Divock Origi in a derby when the guy literally does not play. He has no starts. He's played 6 games, for 107 minutes. I didn't do all competitions, so I'm going to give him a little bit more credit. Let's see. Oh, no. Still just the 6 game. No, I'm just kidding. Let me just get it right.
He's probably got 200
5
minutes.
starts, 6 goals, 3 assists. So his goals plus his per minute stuff is incredible. He just scores when he plays. But all Everton fans know he is the destroyer of souls. He is Vishnu. He is the Oppenheimer to the nuclear bomb that gets exploded in Goodison Park when they get relegated. He is the destroyer of worlds. Famous for the big dink goal many times over. And all Evertonians knew. I mean, Roger Bennett, probably the most famous Evertonian in the U.S., a Liverpool transplant, was just like, oh, he's here. It's over. We're dead. We're going to die now. And he did set up the goal from Robertson. It was a nice move. There's nothing really to talk about aside from the fact that Everton Football Club are in the bottom 3. They are in legitimate, real, no holds barred trouble.
They're in Barney Rubble right now.
Yeah. There is a narrative that somehow Frank Lampard is not to blame for this. Bullshit.
Get the
when
fuck
he
out
took
of
this
here.
team, they were not in the relegation zone, and they are now.
You got 6 games to go. How you haven't given him his walking papers after that display of arrogance and just like, well, nothing else is working, so we might as well just be cunts for 45 minutes. Like, I don't know how he's still employed. So they're not serious about staying up. That's what that tells me.
Yeah. So here's who they have left: Chelsea, Leicester, Watford, Brentford, Palace, Arsenal.
But you have to transpose that over what Burnley has left.
But are Burnley better?
Yes. Watford. So there's your easy win for both sides, right? Aston Villa, Tottenham, Aston Villa twice, like you said last week, and then Newcastle. So look, I mean, the question is not who's got a better run in, because I think it's close, but I think it's probably Burnley by a nose. The question is, who is more likely to get a win, not a draw, a win, and upset one of these teams?
They're going to war, dude. They are ready. They have battle scars. They have blood in their noses. They can taste it in their mouth. They're ahead of Everton. They feel it. They know it.
What I'll say is this.
And me and those dudes are going to fucking they're going to fight to the death.
I know. But what I'm saying is this: assume they both beat Watford. Okay. So then you have 5 games left for Everton and 4 for Burnley. So again, Aston Villa twice, Spurs and Newcastle. Not an easy run-in. It's very possible, if not likely, you lose all 4 of those. But on the Everton side, Chelsea, Leicester, Brentford, Arsenal, Palace. Now Palace is at home, and that's the game of either of their schedules that I think Everton can have the potential.
Everton have not won a game at home. On the road since August.
Yeah, but they're at home.
Oh, home.
Okay?
Sorry. I missed
that. So what I'm saying is that is where the hope lies for Everton. You have to beat 14th place Crystal Palace. These are not world beaters on your turf to stay in the Premier League. But, so it's 2 points. So if they do win that and Burnley lose out, they're good by 1 point.
That Brentford game on Sunday, May 15th. That's the game. Basically, they have to beat Watford.
You have to beat Watford.
That Brentford game at home is massive.
And we'll learn a lot on Saturday because Watford hosts Burnley. If Watford can manage a point, if they can draw Burnley, which I'm not going to say is anything.
At this point, draws are good. I mean, if Burnley gets a draw, they're happy.
No, not against Watford. In any of the other 4 games, they're happy as shit. But if they drop points, this is how you have to look at this. If you drop points against Watford, Everton has the chance. Think of it like Family Feud. They have the chance to steal, right? So,
yes, for sure.
So then you're +2. You're back even, but you still got goal difference. So assuming nobody loses 10-0 in one of these games, you have to get one more point than Burnley with 1 extra game remaining. Now, it's not going to be easy. Like I said, you've got Leicester underachieving, but there's still a difficult draw for a current Everton side.
Close. We would be
Crystal Palace is the game that Everton has to get a result.
It would be unfair to not at least mention Leeds because they've got a tough run in. City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Brighton, Brentford.
Okay. But again,
So they might lose all those games, but they might just hang on 34. It's distinctly
but
possible.
right. But again, assume Burnley and Everton beat Watford. Burnley is on 34. Everton is on 32. The only way that Leeds are in danger is if they get 0 points from the rest of the season from 5 games, which is possible.
Yeah.
And Everton get
sixth.
more.
Yeah.
So they're not mathematically safe with one more draw. I think I said on the last show, 34.5 was the line. They're at 34. One more point should see them through. Because I don't think that Burnley and
Leeds
Everton will get 35.
Leeds will get one more point for sure. What have we been saying? 8 wins. Burnley's now on 6. Everton has the 8.
How about that?
Burnley has hung on with the 13 draws, which is number 2 in the league.
You're right.
That 8 wins. You get to 8 wins, you are staying up. What's killed Everton is they've just losing games, not getting draws, not getting results. They were hard done against City. They had a draw locked up.
Well,
and the handball that wasn't against Rodri really fucking
and
killed
understand
them.
something else. There is the Sean Dyche DNA is showing through. It's in the team, but it's also in the table. They're the only team in the relegation race with a goal difference under -20.
Yeah,
that's
because
a big deal.
Defend. They don't give up.
Exactly.
Shit.
They never get blown out, or they rarely get blown out. Right. So
their
that
problem is they can't score.
Sure, fine, but I understand. But what I'm saying is, for all that Burnley had or wasn't under Sean Dyche, the one thing they was a miserable fucking 90 minutes, and that has translated to the best goal difference of the teams who are in danger of going down.
But
right?
look at the XG for Everton. This is how you go down when you have the XG of -10, but you're actually -21.
Yep. Yep.
Those are losses that should have been draws.
Yeah, I mean, there are a few of those, right? And by the way, the only reason they probably even have a fucking prayer anymore is because of that late equalizer they got the other day, right?
Oh, yeah, they got blown out too.
Against Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, they completely annihilated him.
So this is the same Leicester team you have to play in 2 weeks. So are we really that confident in that?
No. I mean, I think it's close. I think that it's edge Burnley now. Now we know that Burnley are come to play. I think it's definitely edge Burnley. Those 13 draws show we know they're not going to lose. They may not win, but they're not going to lose.
Yeah.
So, and at this point of the season, 5 points, right? Let's say they draw all their games. 5 points puts them at 35.
I don't think that they right.
No, you know what I mean? Like,
so now so you've got 2 different philosophies. Burnley's has really not changed, although I'm sure their dressing room, their style of play certainly has changed from Sean Dyche, but a draw is good, like we said, is good news, aside from the Watford game, as I mentioned, for Burnley. Whereas Everton, you got to go. If you're down, I don't care.
There's no way they're getting beat by Aston Villa twice in 3 weeks. That's just not happening.
I agree, but listen, anything could happen in those games.
Anything. I agree.
The difference is that Villa are basically playing a lame duck season. They're done. There's nothing to play for, and Burnley are fighting for their fucking lives.
And they know
got to go
how to fight.
Burnley.
Right. Speaking of fights for lives, let's go to the bottom of the fringes of the top 4 race. West Ham, Chelsea. I think West Ham are looking at the champions at the Europa League here. They didn't play their big dogs in this game against Chelsea, but they had a shot to pull Chelsea into a scrap that they might have dropped out of the top 4.
Sure.
Again,
and then it was really,
Lukaku plays and does nothing. Then late in the game, Dawson gets called. I mean, Lukaku draws. Lukaku comes on late. Excuse me, I got that wrong. Lukaku draws the penalty on Dawson and the red for pulling him back. Jorginho steps up, misses. Which was fantastic. And
when he misses, it's gorgeous.
I loved it. It was fantastic. But then, our Lord and Savior, Mr. Christian Pulisic, who had come on for Werner, does a great run, nice cross, easy finish, and Chelsea get a big set of points to get themselves off the schneid. They did push in this game. There was a chance for Yarmolenko on 70. Couple chances for Benrahma Masuaku early in the game, but this was Chelsea's game. They went after it. I think, we both agree that West Ham are essentially playing for Europa.
That's the best way. Listen, they can fight tooth and nail for a Europa Conference League spot, or they can go full bore against Eintracht Frankfurt. And who's the other semifinal? I can't remember.
It's Leipzig, right?
Right. That's right. Likely going to be Leipzig in the final. And that's a Champions League spot on the line. And you know what? I fucking hate them, but good on them. But here's where the wrinkle really comes in. Them losing that game officially, not mathematically, but officially closes the door for them in the top 4 race. Well,
yes.
Who do they play on Sunday? Arsenal. This was tagged as part of Arsenal's miserable run-in, which, by the way, included Chelsea and Man United before it. They weren't supposed to get any points from that, and they got 6.
Did. Yeah.
And here you have a West Ham team who, frankly, isn't going to give a damn because they're going to basically be playing Thursday and Thursday around it with far more on the line than London.
The thing is, they don't really have that much rotation, so they'll still have to play a good team, but it won't be the best.
I don't know, dude. They could.
By the way, Leipzig play Rangers.
That's right. Thank you.
Of Glasgow.
Mm-hmm. We did
not a good Rangers team.
No. But so it should be, for all intents and purposes, West Ham and Leipzig in a Europa League final, and good on them. But,
well, I mean, listen, I would not discount Eintracht Frankfurt, who clearly after the Barcelona game have the best support in the league.
Yeah, no.
Like,
but I still think I feel comfortable backing West Ham. But all right, what I'll say is this: whether they win the first leg or not, unless they get their shit blown out,
they're not going to get blown out.
But that's my point. They're not going to go. They're going back home. Thankfully, they're home for both games, so that might help a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're not going to give a shit about Arsenal. They don't give a fuck. Why would they? It makes zero sense. They'll who they'll play? Mark Noble.
Yes, they will play Mark Noble.
They're not going to care, right?
Frankfurt, by the way, Frankfurt and West Ham are about as evenly matched as two teams can be. They're almost exactly the same.
No. I don't disagree at all.
It's going to be a fight with like brick brats, and it's going to be who wants to kill the other person more using rolled up newspapers.
And so that Pulisic effectively, for a moment, Arsenal pulled Chelsea down into the nether regions of the rest of this shit heap. They got their shit together. They escaped. And by the way, they don't have anything else to play for until the end of the season, the FA Cup final. And they also have a game in hand. Who's their game in hand, you ask? We just mentioned it. Everton. So they're fine. Even if they lost this game, they'd be fine.
There is interesting news on the Chelsea front regarding players. So the takeover is taking a long time. Rudiger is officially leaving.
Yep.
That is known.
Real Madrid.
That is a breaking of the team. Christensen is officially leaving. Essentially, they're not re-signing any of the players that are out of contract, and their whole defense is out of contract.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of turmoil at Chelsea. So the locker room it's not fracturing. It's not like a bad thing, like something's wrong, but just, hey, oh, you're leaving? Oh, Rudiger's leaving? Should I leave? Because he's like our best defender. So these kind of like these doubts, weird things happen at the end of the season. A famous one was United losing on Alex Ferguson's last game ever to West Brom, who were going to be relegated 5-4.
Yeah.
These are famous games that happen. So as we segue into the race here, we got your mob going against Brentford and getting brightened.
So Brentford and Brighton, 11 and 12 in the table, held Tottenham Hotspur, and I want to look into the camera.
No shots.
To 0 shots on target. Over 180 minutes of football. 180 minutes and 0 shots. That's with Harry Kane playing. That's with Sonny playing. That's with Kulusevski. Now, how could that happen twice in a row, you ask? I'm glad. Yeah. They effectively have myself and Laurent at wingback. Okay. Yeah. And what that does is you play 3 at the back, and you basically play with a 2-man midfield, right? Kane drops in, you just follow him wherever he goes, which basically cuts off the service to Son and Kulusevski, who suddenly show up like ghosts, and everybody's just like shocked about it. Like, how could this possibly ever happen? And you're basically playing all of it into Sessegnon and Emerson Royal. I still believe in Sessegnon to an extent, but Emerson Royal
his crossing is bad.
It is. I should not try to defend this.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
I thought Sessegnon, there were too many moments where there was a cross on and he just overcooked it. It would go flying over the whole thing.
It was bad.
And there wasn't that many chances. I think what you have in Brentford and Brighton, both very similar teams. Benheim and I believe the other guy's name is Bloom. Both worked at the same gambling company. They split off from each other. Both made their money in gambling and in data intelligence. Both have really worked methodically, director of football, growing the team, doing it the right way. Brighton made it to the league first, then Brentford after them, where you have a philosophy, a structure, a top to bottom, a belief, a system of finding the right players for the right manager, and they're mirroring each other. And I think to the point that they may be sharing intelligence for all I know, where Brentford played exactly as Brighton did. They both have the strength. They both have the strength in their midfield. Incredible stuff.
So it's not hard, but also the one thing that Brentford has that Brighton doesn't is a Christian Eriksen. And all the talk was
Tony.
And Tony. And all the talk going into the game against Brentford was, wow, Eriksen's back at Spurs, blah, 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 blah. He might come back in the offseason, but he's not. He's playing against Brentford. It's actually possible, and it's been rumored to be likely, but it's not the point right now. He you don't necessarily need Christian Eriksen back at Spurs, but what you need is to replace the player you sold in January of 2019, whose name was Christian Eriksen. So I'm surprised that they're surprised at this point. And you have a two-man midfield with Bentancur, who can play a ball forward, but he's not an attacking player by any means, and Højbjerg, who gets lost in his own fucking shirt. And you basically, all you do is you siphon the play out wide and you hope for the best. Well, Sonny and Kulusevski are already wide. Why?
I think the thing that's surprising to me Brentford played great. They have that giant Denmark midfield. They're all Danes. The thing that's interesting, and I didn't really realize, and it took a long time for even Conte to realize it, is Doherty was making the team go somehow. Because he was making runs that freed up that he was making runs that sort of occupied people and made there be less congestion where, you could let Sessegnon get a ball. The other news around Spurs, and I'm sure you know this, is whenever Conte loses, especially when he loses twice in a row or doesn't play well, the rumors surface that he wants to leave. So now the rumor is that he wants to go to PSG in a swap deal for Pochettino. I love this deal. This is incredible. Please do it. I love it.
So the thing is that Conte would not thrive at PSG.
No,
he would fail worse than Tuchel, worse than Pochettino. Not because he's not great, but because the inmates run the asylum. Yes. He is not one of those guys. He would have kicked Neymar if Mbappe was still there. He would have kicked all of them out on their asses because that's not the ethos. He would punch Neymar.
It would happen. He would punch him.
Oh, multiple times. But
I hope Conte stays. I think he's great.
I only saw it through the lens of my own fan base, so I have to criticize my own, and I won't give anybody else shit. At halftime, I saw a refrain, and I have screenshots. I have the receipts of people being like, oh man, as soon as we got into the top 4 race, Harry Kane disappeared. Why is that? Not Sky Sports, not Gary Neville, fucking Tottenham fans. And I'm like, whoa. You're sitting here criticizing the only reason that we're in the position that we are right now. And you have the balls to sit there and say, oh, he's playing like shit. Oh, he went to the Masters after the game last weekend. That's why we lost. Or the after the win, he went and then we lost.
It's not Brighton. Really good coaches studying the team and sitting on him.
And then after halftime, in the second half, by the way, Kane had a very, very good second half. He just didn't score. So everybody shut the fuck up about number 10. And all of a sudden, it didn't even wait until the post-game quotes. It was, oh, I think Conte wants the fuck out of here. Like, dude, like, oh, wait. Here, let me again right into the camera. Hey, Tottenham fans, this is why we haven't won a trophy since 2008 and a real one since 1991. Do you know why? I'll tell you why. We don't deserve it. You people deserve nothing but sadness and misery
you know
fucking
what
lives.
Yeah, you know what I think? I think this is one of the things where, as Americans watching English sports,
it made me angry.
It's there's a darkness within the English that is beyond our comprehension. Like we have optimism. Like we love our best players unconditionally.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm a little bit English inside, right? Like I used to hammer Jeter. It used to make you crazy. You almost wanted to hit me.
No, almost my ass. I was like, I can't afford to lose this job. That's why I let you keep talking about it. That was a true story. Many times, I would sit there with a clenched fist shaking at my desk. I'm like, if Laurent says one more fucking thing about Derek Jeter, I swear to God, I'm going to hit him with this laptop and I'm not sure which end. Well,
that's why I'm English on the inside, right? That's why I get this sport. I'm like, oh yeah, misery, of course.
No, and I understand. And it was never a thing until this past summer and all the stories in City and all that. So the seed of doubt, once it's planted, is nearly impossible to get out, right? Despite the fact that he is unconditionally your best player, despite the fact that he is unconditionally the only reason you have been revived. Yeah. It's Conte. Yeah, listen, buddy, it's as much Kane as it is anybody.
I do want to shift on narratives. So that's your team's narrative. Then we've got City's narrative, who are essentially, we're an anonymous cardboard cutout stick figure who are there only as a foil for Liverpool's greatness or misery, right? So I don't even want I can't even deal with going through 2013 again. Essentially, it's all set up. If Liverpool don't win the league and the quadruple, it will be tragic. And if they win the league and lose one of the things, it'll be heroic. And City are just there as their foil. We're a robotic automaton. We are literally Mr. Robotnik, and they are fucking Sonic.
Yeah, they are.
I know that City are probably the 7th biggest team in England. We don't have the history. I know why media companies do what they do. Liverpool's narrative is better. But sometimes it feels like we need an air disaster or our fans to get crushed in massive numbers before anyone cares who Manchester City is. I think we should raise up Main Road and then implode it on the fans so that we'll be respected as human beings.
I think, you know, in addition,
thank God for Liam Gallagher. Thank God for the Gallagher brothers. If there was not Oasis, there would be nothing. No City representation.
If it wasn't for Liam Gallagher, do you think that Sheikh Mansour would have bought the team?
Probably not. Seriously, I mean,
he bought Everton.
The only reason the only reason PSG and Manchester City were bought is because the word Manchester is in the name of the team and the word Paris is in the name of the team. Yeah. Someone in Berlin needs to call their team Berlin FC. And I think they might get bought, right? But they can't. They're not allowed because they have the rules there anyway.
Right.
And it's called Union Berlin. Don't fuck with that shit.
No, I'm fine. Hey, let's shift gears a bit. We got Champions League.
I had one more.
Okay.
I had one more. Did you see the press conference about Declan Rice and David Moyes? Did I send it to you? Amazing.
That was great.
Amazing.
That was good. So for those that didn't see,
so good.
David Moyes was the manager of Everton many, many, many years ago when a young Wayne Rooney, a young, not cirrhosis-riddled Rooney, who's age 37, who looks like he's 87,
I know.
Or 36, whatever. He was at Everton. As the story goes, as everyone knows, he was sold to Manchester United on David Moyes' watch. So he
took that money and picked up the team.
Yeah. But
this press conference is mentioned that, Declan Rice has turned down his 3rd time in a contract. And Moyes is just like, who said that? Somebody mentions Fabrizio Romano. And he's like, Fabrizio Romano? So somebody from inside the club, huh? One of the local lads.
Yeah.
And he just giggles and he's like, I got this. You guys can't fucking rattle me. I'm David Moyes. I loved his confidence. I loved his shooting down. I loved his shitting on Romano, who is, as I troll the internet, is just known as he breaks stuff, but he's an aggregator, right? He just is on the internet all day, double checks stuff he sees, and just, because his account is huge now, he can say, and that's fine. I'm sure they all do.
The thing with him is that he's almost never wrong,
Well,
And I
because he
think
only
that,
posts he double checks. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So Romano got his catchphrase of "Here we go." He's on CBS. So, but I love that Moyes was just like, Twitter. The fuck's Twitter? I don't give a fuck about what that guy says. It was great. It was great. I now love Moyes. I don't know if I ever loved Moyes, but now I do. And I
I get that.
wonder, United fans, if you're out there,
Would you go again?
where would you be if you had just kept him the whole time?
I mean, no way. Even if he won the league twice, he wouldn't be there still. But that's 8 years.
Well, he had an interview about it. He was very frank. He was like, I wasn't ready then. I could do it now. He just didn't have it.
Yeah.
He wasn't chilled enough yet.
And it was just so.
There were
the
too many
style
of
of play-
Ferguson's guys too.
Well, but it was the style of play was so different and jarring that he had lost the room before he walked in it.
Right, and then the Fellaini signing didn't help because they were like, Fellaini, that's not a Manchester United player. They kill for fucking Fellaini right now. He'd be their best midfielder
and lo and behold,
by a lot. And who was their midfielder when they last won trophies with Jose Mourinho? Malround fucking Fellaini. When they couldn't play, and Mourinho would go, all right, bring Fellaini on. We're doing it the old way. Kick it to him. Let's get this fucking goal. They were amazing when they did that. Yeah. So I know we segued. We went to West Ham. We went to the top four. We didn't talk too much about United and Arsenal. That was a good game. That was fun.
Yeah. No,
I enjoyed that. I was worried that it was going to be shit, but I found it to be enjoyable. A lot of weird penalty calls. Cedric crawling on the ground for the handball. That probably was a penalty in all of history, but pundits don't seem to read the actual rules, and the rules were changed to say that if your hand is on the ground and it gets hit, it cannot be a penalty. It doesn't say if you're crawling and your arm is on the ground. Just if your hand is implanted on the ground and the ball hits your arm, it cannot
be a movement of the hand towards the ball. That was just unequivocal because it wasn't on the ground. It was you were on the ground, but you went like that. That's a penalty all day long.
It was a penalty all day long, but according to the rules, not a penalty. That was one. Then there was an Elanga. There was a little bit of a push by Tavares, sort of, but he did score a nice goal. I didn't think that was a penalty, but then they gave the same penalty the other way on the offside. No, wait, we're not checking offside. That might have been a penalty. So they did the double VAR, and they gave the penalty. By the way, I don't know how many Arsenal fans are out there, but that Tavares kid can never play. He is awful. Like it got to the point that the announcers were saying they need to get him off because he's making mistakes. Like we're worried for his confidence. Like they were uncomfortable. Like he couldn't hold on to the ball. So there were about 20 minutes in the second half where like United were good because it was on display. The weak link sport bullshit that I talk about. I'm like, if you guys can't get this fucking ball to Odegaard, you must stop. Like Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Saka, you get it to them, they're gold. Like Odegaard is just like, I can't deal with him. I love him. I can't with him. His little frosty hair. He chases guys down. He's got the thing. If he adds 10 goals to his game, he might be he's like
in the player of the year conversation if he adds 10 goals to his game. But
no, 10 total, not to what he has now. Like at the end of the year, he's on 10 and 10. Yeah,
I mean, he's not in the upper echelons of the conversation, but certainly Arsenal player of the year.
In that little spot, he's got a little.
Yeah. Well, you said it a couple of weeks ago. He's reminiscent of a number 23 Dane from Spurs a few years back. So,
well, I felt like Eriksen used to play a little bit deeper. This is more like in the David Silva spot, like in that like right on the edge of the box where he's ready, quick turns. He did play with David Silva at Real Sociedad. He does have a little bit of a crap Kevin De Bruyne vibe to him without the power.
Or the complete lack of emotion whatsoever.
Leave my team alone. I know it's so I'm all over.
That was a cheap shot.
No. I get it though. Like it's so hard. Like I want to talk about City and have the feelings that you have for United, that you have for Arsenal, that one can have for Spurs and all these ups and downs. But my team is like no drama Obama. It's just there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's a robotic. attack robot that just destroys all comers. And yes, I'm sure the players have feelings, and there are passionate players like Diaz and Kevin De Bruyne does stuff, but you only have moments on the field. There's nothing. It's like a void. They're basically a Ken doll who destroys people.
I'll give you some Manchester City drama.
Oh,
later today at the Etihad, first leg of the Champions League semifinal against 10-time winning Real Madrid. Talk to me about your feelings about that.
13-time winning.
Oh, yeah, they won 3 more. That's right. The decimal was like a long time ago.
They won 3 in a row.
That's right. That's right.
But they didn't win the league.
On the wrong end of that.
Yes, no, that's okay. Yes. That's okay. La décima is not la tresima. City, by the way, Real Madrid, I do respect the heart of a champion. We talked about it a little bit. Over the knockout rounds, they have played 45 minutes of good football. They played 20 minutes against PSG, blew them away, and 15 minutes against Chelsea and blew them away. Chelsea were bad in the first leg, but they were dominated by PSG in the first leg, but held on. They were dominated by Chelsea in the second leg when they had the 4-3 or 3-4, whatever it was. City ain't going to let that shit happen. That's just not going to happen.
Okay.
Not to my team. No fucking way. Now,
why not?
Now, could they give up? Could there be a ball in behind? Vinicius gets on it, crosses it to Benzema, and he finishes? Yes, that can happen. They could lose 1-0 easily. I just think...
Oh, but you're saying they're not going to have that 25-minute stretch where they get completely fucking doored.
I don't think so. It'll be... If City lose, it'll be on the break. It'll be Vinicius on the break. No Kyle Walker, still injured. No John Stones, injured. City are fucking burning oil, humping into the line. It's going to be Zinchenko at one of the fullback positions. Cancelo gets a yellow card accumulation in the 98th minute against Atleti because it was in the 98th minute because all the bullshit. Essentially, Atleti, when the season goes, if City lose this two-legged tie and lose the league, it will be the Atleti two-legged event that killed their season.
Sure.
Because that 100-minute at the Wanda Metropolitano just psychologically kicked the shit out of City. They were okay for the Liverpool game, but the accumulation of all of it, now they're injured. Am I setting up for City losing? A little bit. I'm ready for them to lose these games. I mean,
sure. So what you just described to me sounds like an awful familiar script that you and I know very well. If Real Madrid sit deep and play on the break, especially with a weakened defense, especially on the wings,
they can play. If they can play, they can do Spurs better than Spurs.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And they have a better. No disrespect to Harry Kane. Benzema is having a better season than Harry Kane.
Sure,
but they are absolutely. A similar level of quality. These are like
different players, but top, very, very similar. Yeah,
top
of course.
4 strikers in the world who can affect games coming deep. All rounders. They do it all.
Yes.
And then with Vinicius, you have Son.
Yeah.
The hope is when Vinicius does get his 1 or 2 chances, he misses them, or Ederson saves them. Again, this is going to come down to, can City in the early minutes of the game get an early goal, settle in,
of course,
and be clinical? Because City create chances. It's going to be whether City can score goals. I like Jesus to play in this game with Foden up front and Bernardo Silva in the 9, where they all rotate.
Well, Jesus just scored 4 goals. You got to ride.
You better fucking play this game.
You've got to play him. Let me ask you this.
And then it's Gundogan, Rodri, and De Bruyne.
And for those that don't know, we're going to come back to it. The other semifinal, we're not going to talk about it. It's Liverpool with a fucking bye round against Villarreal. If they don't win this, they should be kicked out of the fucking Premier League.
Listen, I have a lot of respect for Unai Emery. They have put out Bayern and Juventus. If they put out Liverpool, that's
bigger than Ajax a few years back.
That will be the biggest upset in 30 years. It'll be Porto. It'll be bigger than that.
Well, they'd have to beat you or Madrid then to beat Porto. But all right, enough said about that. Going back to City, I have a question for you. How do you feel about the first leg being at home and then therefore the second leg being at the Bernabeu?
It's an advantage to them for sure.
I would agree.
I think City need to put a 3 down at least.
Well, and so that's kind of my point is that do you think that they'll batten down the hatches, take their chances on the rush, but not necessarily if they can go back to the Bernabeu down
with down 2?
I was going to say 1. I think 2 is the line where it's like that's going to be tough because then if City are up 2-0, you don't have to have them going full bore. You can't play on the break. You have to play them in their own way, and that's where you're going to get really beaten poorly. But if you can go back 1-0 for the first half of that game in the Bernabeu, you can be the snake and kind of lure them in, right?
I mean, look at this. Walker, Stones, Cancelo unavailable. That's just
right. But that's what I'm saying. You can take your shots and play that 65-35 possession game. Do that. And then on that 35, on the break, Modric is going to set Vinicius free on the wing, and it could get weird real fast. So
I think the hope is that Real play like they played against PSG, where they played bad. I mean, the thing that's crazy about this season for Real is they have not played well in almost every single one of those games. Right. You were just like, how are they still here? Why can't they die? You've got to kill the champion. They win on draws. Like they have the heart of the champion. They have got all those, the ghost. It's running on fumes. It's 99 Yankees. It's, with 2000, whatever Yankee team you want to pick, whatever, like Tom Brady down 28 at the half. Like what the fuck? How does this happen? Yeah. It's these people. It's Jeter in a big spot where you're just like this. I know every Red Sox fan is petrified, even though I'm afraid too. It's just like, you're just like, oh, Mariano's coming. What the fuck? You know what I mean? That is Real. You're like, what the fuck? Benzema's on the break. Why is he free? How did he get there? Why isn't someone like on his back? Like, just don't.
Yeah.
The last time they lost was because he wasn't playing. And they lost 4-0 to Barcelona, who have now lost 3 in a row at home. I mean, and lost to Eintracht Frankfurt. That's how big Benzema is. Like, will someone just take Phil Foden and stick him on that French fucking destroyer of worlds? Anyway, I'm afraid. I don't feel good about this game at all. It's going to be Diaz, Laporte, Zinchenko, and a sack of cheese.
You think it's Ake?
I think he's injured. He's got a bad ankle.
Oh, okay.
So when Zinchenko, Ake as the fullbacks means that City have a stilted attack, because that's what happens. So it's going to be on your De Bruyne's to just will them to win. And he has done it. They did one of the most famous games to get City to the semifinal was a win at Real in a better version of Real 2 years ago. So it's possible, but I do not feel good about this team. It's going to take a lot. Like, all this stuff is just like City are going to lose the Champions League and lose the league because they're trying to win the Champions League and they have no players left.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Tune in for later today, 3 p.m. Eastern time. It's Squeaky Bum Time for Laurent. We'll talk about Squeaky Bum Time over to Italy for a second before we wrap up.
The Fighting Salernos!
The Fighting Salernos have a breath yet.
Oh, God.
3 wins on the bounce. They're up to 25 points. They're 3 points off of Cagliari with 5 games to go, and Cagliari only have 4. By the way, they didn't just beat anybody. They beat Fiorentina 2-1 on Sunday. Big shit kind of performance from the Granata, and I'm so pumped. I'm in, and I'm partially sad because originally the plan was that my wife and I were going to go over there. We were going to catch a game, and it was going to be Salernitana on May 8th against Cagliari, which is turning out to be a war for survival. So we'll see how the next few days go. We'll see how the next 10 days or so
have you gotten your Federico Bonazzoli shirt?
Bonazzoli. Oh, I love him. Frank Ribery's still on the team.
Oh, is he?
Yes, they signed him on a free for like $20. They're paying him in pizza.
Oh, God.
And they're paying him with a.
There's a guy named Lasagna Koulibaly. Come on.
Yes, there literally is. There's a guy on the team named Lasagna. And so after being just left for dead, they get 9 points from 9. They still have the worst goal difference, so they're 3.5 points back. but damn it, they have a breath. And I'm really, really excited for my boys. I've been following them all season. I've been getting the goal notifications. I've been watching a handful of the games. I'm stuck in on these guys, and I'm hoping that they can stay up and I can get to see them sometime next season.
Okay, Venezia, Atalanta. Oh my God, you've got Cagliari away at home. That is gonna be a fucking war.
Yeah, I'm excited for that game. Like I'm gonna start like looking up a couple of Italian phrases.
You can win that game.
What's
They're
that?
not that good, Venezia. They have the greatest shirt in
Venezia is dead last. So we've got Venezia, we've got Cagliari, we've got Spezia, who we just beat, I think, a few weeks back. That's 15, 17, and 20 right there. Again, though, I think Cagliari has Venezia as well. The problem is not that you're 3 points behind, that you're 3.5 points behind. And it's a similar case as Everton right now. There's certainly far more hope in the Salernitana camp than there is Everton at the moment, but it's that same, we have to do better than them because we can't tie. A tie is a loss. So we'll see. There's a lot of football still to be played.
It looks like same scenario here. If you get to 8 wins, you're gonna make it.
Exactly right. So we'll see. I'm praying for the boys. And so much as the line in the Premier League is 35 points, right? We've said that a lot.
In Italy, it's lower.
In Italy, it's much, much lower. It's probably 31, 32. So yeah, we're hoping that, Sampdoria, by the way, who's another team that they just beat. So they're really picking up the points they need to. They look, their crest looks like basically the 80s.
It's a seahorse.
No. The pattern behind it. It looks like the fountain soda cups. It's the white cup with like the blue and red. These people are just paper mache. They're bullshit. Our boys, our mob are going to take that spot right out from under them. I'm excited about it. I have another reason to believe.
I think we need a GoFundMe to pay off the refs in Italy. They've been known.
That's a good point. That's a great point. So originally we were going to try and buy the team, but obviously if they stay up.
Oh, what happened with that? Did he sell it?
Yeah, he did, to just somebody for like $80. No, I think it was
a tuna cannery magnet.
Yeah, right. It was I believe it was like 4 million euros. Like the team is worth like 50, 60 million euros. And he sold it for like, I don't know the exact number, but it was a significant, because he had to. He was like, sell it by tomorrow or both of your teams are kicked out. He's like, fuck. All right. So
by the way, I love that teams can be bought for very little. Like if we could scrounge enough money together, we could buy Derby. We would have to pick up all the debt. That's fine. We could buy Oldham Athletic. So something just happened. Very exciting.
10 million euros, by the way. So it's close. And the new owner is the founder of Italy's Pegasus Online University. So the guy who runs Italy's University of Phoenix, a for-profit college, just was like, yeah, that's a tax write-off for me. No problem.
So we do have sad news from the football world. We know about Derby and their -21. Oldham Athletic, a former Premier League team, Oldham Athletic, probably one of the early teams, has fallen out of the league. They are in the National League. So that means they're gone down to the Championship, down to League One, down to League Two, and in the National League. That's 4 levels down. That's 90 teams down. Yeah, that is like depth of hell. Like there's no TV contract. You lucky if you get a hamburger contract. Like, are we going to provide hamburgers? No, you're going to Costco and there's a shed to fucking that the guy's making hamburgers.
And we're gonna have a cookout after the game. And if you lose, we're killing the worst player on the team and we're eating him. Okay.
Yeah. So my usual responses to this is, England, why do you have 105 professional teams in a country the size of New York State? What are you doing?
Yeah.
So Oldham Athletic, we pour a little out for you. And we hope that this is the time of year. Be on the lookout for the promotion playoffs. We're looking for Nottingham Forest and some of our friends. Fulham are going up. Bournemouth will come back. So we'll have 2 return friends. And the championship playoffs look like this only because it's my favorite. It's literally the most valuable game in all of sports. Right now, the champion spots look like Huddersfield, a former friend, Nottingham Forest, 2-time European champions. Take that, bitches. Luton Town, who would be a new boy with a stadium of only less than 10,000, and Sheffield United. If you haven't noticed, every single one of these teams in this group has at least in the last 3 years been in the Premier League.
Aside from Luton Town, but yes.
Well, Luton Town, well, Nottingham Forest has not been, but Nottingham Forest is a big.
But they've got a brand.
And that's a big club. Like, they shouldn't have been down there for that long. But then my friends in Blackburn slipped out. That made me sad. And my friend Brereton Diaz has fallen back into his Englishness and is no longer Chilean. He had 20 goals somewhere at the break, and now he only has 21. But Mitrovic, 41. The under-over on goals is what, 10 or 12 for next season?
If it's 10, I'm hitting it. I'm telling you right now. If it's
you think he's going to go over?
I'll go over. I'll go over 10. Happily.
Yeah. Well, what's Tony at now?
How many does Tony? I was about to say that's the real question, because he was the guy coming out.
Tony's on. I think Tony is on 11, but 5 are penalties.
Those count.
I'd have to check. Hold on. Ivan Tony's on 12 with 5 penalties, so it's really 8
with 5 games to go. He's got one more in him.
Hopefully it's not against your team.
Yeah. Well, we're good. We're done.
And then my friend Brian Mbuemo, who has an XG of 9 on only 4 goals. You know why? Because he hit the post 6 times.
Yeah, it's a lot of fucking woodwork in his past.
Baby. All right,
let's wrap it up. Let's get out of here.
Okay, that was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network. We are big fans of FanHub. Get your FanHub stuff there and do stuff. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're listening on Apple, please rate and review the show, because it helps, and no one is